Hi there. We're on day 32 of our Through the New Testament in 1 year, which means it's February 1st. Today we're doing Matthew 21, half of it, 1 through 22. So the triumphal entry, this is a good one. So getting near Easter, right? Now when they drew near to Jerusalem and came to Bethphage, to the Mount of Olives, then Jesus sent two disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village in front of you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, you shall say, 'The Lord needs them,' and he will send them at once." This took place to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet, saying, "Say to the daughter of Zion, Behold, your king is coming to you, humble and mounted on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a beast of burden." All right? Donkey, colt. The disciples went and did as Jesus directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and put them up and put on them their cloaks. And he sat on them. Most of the crowd spread their cloaks on the road, and others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. And the crowds that went before him, that followed him, were shouting, "Hosanna, the Son of David! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." Hear the song, Hosanna, in the highest. Now, the word Hosanna means bring your kingdom now, right? And when he entered Jerusalem, the whole city was stirred up, saying, "Who is this?" And the crowd said, "This is the prophet Jesus from Nazareth of Galilee." Oh, right. There's a lot of symbolism in that story. Right? The fact that they all threw palm branches, it was called Palm Sunday, palm branches, and threw their cloaks on the road and begging him, "You bring your kingdom," and they would later murder him. Jesus cleanses the temple. And then Jesus entered the temple and drove out all who sold and bought in the temple, and he overturned the tables of money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons. He said to them, "It is written, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you make it a den of robbers." Right. Now that's a big story. Some of the other ones go into more detail where he actually made a whip out of stuff nasty, and he was swinging it at people, and he was upset. Okay, righteous anger. And that could be a whole study into itself, right? Does that go on today? Money changers in the temple? Let me ask you this. Does your church have a coffee shop in it? Will they sell coffee? Donuts? Think about that. Bookstore? Some of them do. My house shall be called a house of prayer, but you make it a den of robbers. Yeah, think about that. And the blind and the lame came to him in the temple, and he healed them. But when the chief priests and the scribes saw the wonderful things that he did, and the children crying out in the temple, "Hosanna, the Son of David," they were indignant. Of course they were. And they said to him, "Do you hear what they are saying?" And Jesus said to them, "Have you never read, out of the mouths of infants and nursing babes, you have prepared praise?" And leaving them, he went out of the city to Bethany and lodged there. Jesus curses a fig tree. In the morning, he was returning to the city. He became hungry. And seeing a fig tree by the wayside, he went to it and found nothing on it, but only leaves. And he said to it, "May no fruit ever come from you again." And the fig tree withered at once. When the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, "How did the fig tree wither at once?" And Jesus answered them, "Truly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what has been done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, 'Be taken up and thrown into the sea,' it will happen. And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith." Okay? We were talking about that this morning, right? How to get wisdom. So there you go. Lots of stuff going on, lots of symbolism there, okay? Now it says in other Gospels that when he cursed his fig tree, it wasn't the time of year for figs, okay? It wasn't time for figs to be growing. But he's God, and it said it should have grown figs for me. Right? You should always be ready with your fruit at all times. Okay? See the symbolism there? Right. At all times. Now, shall we go look for notes here in the Geneva? I love the footnotes in it. So there's one in A, draw near to Jerusalem. Now we won't be able to see this, right? Well, Christ, by his humility, triumphing over the pride of this world, ascendeth to true glory and ignominy that's a word, right? On the cross. Okay, we're looking for footnotes. He will let them go. So when they were sent to get the donkey and the colt, right? He that shall say anything to you, you shall let them go, to wit, the ass and the colt, right? Tell ye the daughter of Zion, behold, the king cometh unto thee, and maketh sit upon an ass. This is the actual city of Zion in Hebrew, a kind of speech common in Lamentations of Jeremiah. Okay. Looking for footnotes. Clothes. They set their uppermost garments, right? Their cloaks. Moreover, people went there also following Christ, saying, Hosanna. This was an ancient kind of crying which they used in the Feast of Tabernacles when they carried boughs according to God, as God commanded, and the world is corruptly made of two, for we should say, Hoshiagna, which is much to say as save, I pray thee. Save, right? Save us now, right? I mean, the literal translation of Hosanna is save us now. Blessed be he that comes in the name of the Lord. That's an old Michael song, right? Will be to him that cometh in the name of the Lord, just that is to say, whom the Lord hath given us for our King, right? All the city was moved, saying, who is this? When it came to Jerusalem, that is, all the men of Jerusalem were moved. Yeah, when you see something like that, sure you would. You'd be moved. Chief priests and scribes saw it. The children. Such as should be masters of godliness are they that do the most envy the glory of Christ, but in vain, right? The Pharisees and the people in power, they think they should be better than Jesus, right? They don't like it when people follow Jesus, right? Your pastor should be proud when he sees you following Jesus more than you follow him, okay? And if that's not the case, you need to do some reevaluating, okay? We'll just leave that there. Then he left them and went to Bethany. Christ doth forsake the wicked, and yet he hath a consideration in regard of his church. He was hungry. Hypocrites shall at length have their mask discovered, and their wizards from their faces. Wow. Okay. So we got interesting footnotes, right? So that's Matthew 21. We'll mark that as complete. Tomorrow we'll be doing the rest of it. And there's no... Well, let's go back to the other one where they have some titles, right? Authority is challenged. Do it. Parable of the two sons, the parable of the tenants. So that's tomorrow. There you go. These are nice short studies going through the New Testament in a year. Like I said, when it gets later into this stuff, we will, tear apart some of the stuff and take more time. But the story of Jesus is moving through it, right? The miracles, lots of symbolism that'll be covered, okay, later on. So give us a like, think about it, catch up on any you may miss, or you can just read Matthew and join us, when you want. So, but until tomorrow, we'll do it again. See ya.